Welcome to Deeper Conversation. I'm Pastor Judy, and I'm again with Pastor Thea. And welcome back. Thank you for doing the first one. I was going to head in the prophetic again, but Pastor Gill had asked a question, and so I love to ask when people ask questions to give them the answer. So the question is, how did you have such an amazing heart for the kids?
I tease and say it's because I'm a big kid, but that's got a lot to do with it, yes. Yes, I have always loved children, and I actually wanted a huge family. God had other ideas and has given me more children than even what I desired to begin with at this point. But I felt, I guess, see how I can put it. I guess for me, I felt like these little people needed to be taught and given tools to be able to maneuver life in a better way than what we've always done,
yes.
You know, and each generation has so much to offer. So for me, it was just really that desire to teach them and allow them to learn the truth and how to walk with God through every circumstance, even when they're little, because they go through so many things even when they're little.
Amen. And we were talking about the prophetic last week, and the thing you have done since we've been shut down, how did God give you those directions for the kids?
Oh, goodness, yeah. First he did was a dream. And then after the dream, he just started talking to me. I would see something on television, and then all of a sudden he wants me to do this, you know, television as in Zoom. And how do I reach all these children? How can we keep them connected? How do we not, you know, there's so many things that he just started answering with those questions on them. And he's just really blessed us ever since.
And it's interesting the reach you have because of being on Zoom.
Yes, we are not giving this up anytime soon. We have all over San Luis Obispo County, from Santa Maria, San Luis. We have some that possibly are going to be coming from Bakersfield. So, you know, he's kind of opened the doors for the whole thing there.
You know, I jumped on last week with you, but of course you share with me all the time, and I'm just amazed at how engaged and how some of them, it's just like they don't even want to miss a week, where at church it would be a different story.
Right? I'm telling you, we're big kids. You know what, it's a place for us to gather to be safe and to have fun and to really learn about God in an area that I think most people forget about, you know, and that's their age category. You know, they're so busy being parents or whatever that they can't really engage them in these areas, and they really want to be part of. They are, in the beginning they weren't very outspoken, but now those that were shy and introverted, we don't have any of those anymore.
And us adults still have issues with Zoom. We over-talk each other, you know, sometimes it's just not really orderly. But when I was on yours, they raised their hands, you really set a wonderful structure in there where they're comfortable.
Yeah, well, you know, we have to, because, you know, kids have a habit of blurting out anyway. So with their hands, we know that they are at least being considerate of other people so that they can each have a turn to be able to speak. So we had to set some pretty good ground rules.
And then at the end of it, you all always ask them, what do you want us to pray for, or at the beginning. And I was amazed that they all come up with family or some area they want prayer for.
You'd be surprised. Kids know a lot more of what's going on than I think we give them credit. And we like to give them the opportunity to express those. And a lot of times when they don't want to pray it themselves, they will ask us to do the praying for them. So, yeah.
And then it's really fun, I guess.
We have a good time, yes. And even when they don't want to pray, they still have to pray. And so it comes out pretty good. We've designed you've ever played that game, what is it, the telephone game, when somebody talks and then the next person adds something else, and then the next person adds something else. Well, we do our prayer that same way. We start with a leader, work our way through the group, and then end with a leader. So everybody's got an opportunity to be able to say something. And they always come up with something. Whether it's about a family member, but lately it's been really encouraging because it's been the outside world. Oh, wow. And things going on that's happening in our world right now. So.
And then, for me, I would think of Zoom as just, us talking, but you guys are like playing games, you're having food, so, and then all the preparation you have to do to put it all together and drop all these off at wherever, mail them out so they get them, is that?
Yeah, that's the challenging part, is being spread out so far. There are some that we do have to mail, but for the most part, we get to drop the locals all off for there. There's a lot of preparation, but there's a lot of preparation on anything that you set up in that fashion. So we had fun. We just finished, what you joined us with was a movie night. So we were able to do movie baskets, which had all the goodies in, because you can't have a movie without goodies. And then we also sent them, we had just finished a challenge that we had done. We had given them, it was a 6-week Bible challenge quiz. So every week they had to do the assigned reading and come back and answer questions and tell us about the stories and stuff that they read. And in the beginning it was a little tight. They weren't really sure, but by the end, nobody wanted to miss because they wanted to win. The competition won out. So yeah, it's a lot of work, but it's so worth it.
And you have such a diverse age, really.
Oh goodness, yeah. We have from 6 years old to 14 right now.
And then you have one little one that joins. Daniela?
We have another little one that's 4.
Yes.
I think she's 4.
Yes. So it's just, I think the creativity that God gives us, if we will tap into it, and like you said, it started with a dream, and then just listening. And so, God speaking is not uncommon through His Word and through everything, but sometimes we try to do things on our own. Not that you ever have, but I do.
No.
But just to see how this has developed has been really interesting, just to see the things you put together, and the like when you tell me what's going on, I'm like going, I don't know how you thought that up. But the creativity that God gives us.
He does. And I question that myself. But what I'm learning is we all were given gifts of creativity. And they come out in different forms, but they all work together. And that's what we're finding with our team. Everybody's got good ideas. And it's just learning how to implement them.
Yeah. And you do work with the team, which is something we've been speaking a lot about in church or on Max CEO, about building a team so that you don't have to carry all the weight.
Yes, I don't know what I would do without them.
Yeah. So it is a team effort, and I guess you go back to chapter 13 in 1 Corinthians, and about the gifts, and that everybody has a part, and yet to hear God's voice and to share what God is saying really kind of sets that agenda and moves you forward. And I'm sure that your team comes up with great ideas too. It's not just you.
Absolutely. I think it all begins with hearing Him and actually stepping out and being obedient. It only takes one. Okay,
and then because you're the leader of the team, and of course a pastor, you're trying to draw out those giftings from your team.
That's a little more challenging. Yes. We are, and I'm finding that the longer we work together, the more mature that we're becoming together as a unit. Their creativity is coming out more and more. We just finished a meeting today before I came, and some great ideas. We got some good coming attractions coming up. So I look forward to kind of ironing all those out and kind of getting those set in place.
I think we always think that we can just grow our team in a couple months, and it takes time to cohese that team and for each person to have confidence to speak and also the ability to listen and be open to different ideas. And so I just really share that because we're all, trying to grow in the Lord, and we're all trying to move forward in what God has asked us, but it's not by our own might, and it's not by us doing a solo thing. It's really about developing teams, and not just the teams, but developing giftedness, drawing out that giftedness that you see in them, but they're not really yet quite open to moving it.
Isn't that kind of like all of us, though?
Yes.
Somebody else can always see that gift before you can actually see it in yourself.
Yeah. And so that, again, takes us back to the topic that I started with, is just not only that we have gifting prophetically, but drawing that out of each person and helping them utilize the gifting that's in them and understand it's not the same. I don't hear and speak the way you do. Doesn't mean it's right or wrong. It's just all of them come together. And so I hope that, all of you, I appreciate you doing this. I thank you for joining us. Of course, I definitely thank you for all you do for our church and us. But with that, I just want to encourage everybody that unless you stay connected to other believers, you don't grow in the gifts. You need other people to help stretch you. And so we're going to continue this subject for a while from different perspectives, because as I just said now, is everybody learns it and develops it a new way. So maybe this didn't speak to you, but the next person will, because we all learn from each other. So God bless and have a great week, and we will talk next time. Bye. Thank you for joining. Good morning. This is Deeper Conversations. I'm Pastor Judy. This is Pastor Thea. And we're here to discuss something that jumped out at me this week. And so I'm going to read a little bit about it, but it's really... Who knows why this Bible jumped? Sorry, let's start this again. That's okay. You can cut it out. Deeper Conversations.